Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about the final two of my favorite current fan manufacturers. And we're going to start that off with Modern Forms. Now, Modern Forms is owned by the WAC or WAC Lighting. And I think that the WAC stuff is kind of cool. They don't have a whole lot of actual total fixtures. They have a lot more recessed lighting and a lot more commercial type lighting. But the Modern Forms line was sort of their way to get into the houses and the more residential type stuff. And I feel like the effort was pretty good because they're one of my favorites, and price points for some of these fans are absolutely terrific. And I'll be talking about that in a minute. But yeah, so the Modern Forms fan line only started 5 years ago. Let's see, 2018 to 19, 20, 21, 22. So about 4 or 5 years ago, they started in 2018. And I remember I was at the local showroom and I saw this book. I'd never heard of the brand before, so I didn't remember it once I left the showroom. But I was like, holy moly, these designs are really cool. And then eventually, I did. The next time I went to the showroom, I saw the catalog and they gave it to me. And I was able to do more research on them. And I found just how awesome it was. And yeah, so I've been following the Modern Form stuff for a little bit now. Definitely not since the start, because it took me a little bit before I totally realized who they were. But yeah, I have to say I'm very, very impressed. And they've continued to grow the line, and I really do like it. And they follow some of the trends, and they also do some other cool stuff. All the fans are DC, wet rated, and smart. And the quality isn't terrible on them either, which is absolutely awesome. Despite the fans being wet rated, the blade quality and the finish quality feels absolutely terrific. I've experienced a whole bunch of different Modern Forms fans in person, like the Woody, the Wind, and some others as well. Those are just some of the ones off the top of my head, because some of the local showrooms have been going quite heavy with Modern Forms, which I'm very happy to hear. But yeah, this brand is absolutely awesome. They've got tons of good designs, and that's always great. And price points. This is something else I mentioned. Now, sure, some fans are a bit more expensive, but I want to show you one in particular, and I'm actually going to get the book out for this because I want to show you. But yeah, so this fan here, the Zephyr, okay? This fan looks really cool. It's built very well. I've seen one of these in person as well, and they're about $400. Yeah, you heard me right. These DC smart fans are $400. And while sure there's a lot of other manufacturers, great manufacturers like Caro, who has some more reasonably priced DC stuff, Modern Forms here brings in such a cool quality design that's really up to the showroom standards and stuff. And they're selling it for that price. And they've got a whole bunch of other really cool fans as well. I just feel like it's absolutely incredible. Their pricing is good, their quality is good, their designs are good, and that's something I like. Not to mention that if you're not looking for all the frills, WAC also has some cool designs, and Cole over at Vintage Fans and More reviewed the mod, which I think looks pretty good. And yeah, they've got some great designs over there too. So really, overall, for that reason, I have to give these guys a pretty good rating, because they're awesome, and the products look great, the quality is good, prices are good, and they've got a few different variations and stuff as well between both the WAC and the Modern Forms line. Not to mention, I know this is mostly about fans, but the lighting. Okay, the lighting is freaking terrific. I love it so much. Some of that stuff is just absolutely beautiful. But anyways, since the company is a bit newer, I don't have as much to say about it, but yeah, Modern Forms is definitely one of the best, and they look awesome, and I'm so excited to see where they go in the future. Yeah, the final manufacturer, it's not a surprise because I mentioned what manufacturers I'd be covering already, but yeah, the next one is Quorum, the Quorum Brands. So Quorum was started a long time ago, back in the 70s, as the Davis Import or Davenport, and eventually in 93 they changed their name to, or 92 they changed the name to Quorum. I've actually got most of the Quorum catalogs from 1993 all the way up to now. I've got a huge bunch of them. I'm not just talking about the fans only. I got the fan and lighting books, the big ones. So that's pretty cool. And I've watched Quorum now. I have all this information and data on them from all these books. And I would say the designs had always been really cool. And I personally have always quite liked Quorum. They were one of the first manufacturers I got really interested in as a kid. I think they were like, we're not counting Menards brands and stuff. We were talking like Showroom Brands. It was Kichler first, then Minka, and then Quorum. So Quorum was one of the very first. And I always thought some of the designs were so cool. And something that's also really awesome is that some of the designs are so good, they've had them for like 20 years. The Prism was around in Davenport days. That was like over 30 years ago. And that fan they still make today. It's absolutely insane. And then, of course, how can I not mention the fact that Quorum themselves did design the windmill fan, which started the trend. Well, technically, other people had been taking real windmills and putting them on motors for ages. Quorum was the first big lighting manufacturer to do it, and they look like a windmill. And then in a couple of years, they introduced the Mykonos. Unfortunately, that a lot of that line's already being axed, which makes me very sad because I love that. I love the Mykonos. It's awesome. But yeah, they came out with those unique designs, and they've had tons of other unique ones. And while quality is definitely not on top, and airflow isn't on top either, you do get some decent values, and they've got a whole bunch of really cool builder type products. And just this year, they have announced the Main Street by Quorum collection, which is their new selection of more affordable products. We'll just say that. And I don't really feel like it's a compromise on quality either. And Cole has reviewed the Breeze ceiling fan, and they still make the Breeze, but they've also got fans like the Virtue and the Ovation, and they do have the old Capri model as well. But yeah, they've got a bunch of awesome different sort of builder type fans. Once again, I'm saying builder because they aren't the most basic looking, even though they do have the Capri, which is very basic. They've got some more nice looking things, and they've got quite a few other great fans. Some of them are very good performers. And yeah, overall, I just don't feel like the quality is all that bad. And their designs recently have been very impressive. And then, of course, Quorum also is with Oxygen and Cyan Design. Now, Cyan's got a bunch of really awesome looking stuff, but there aren't any fans, so I'm not going to say too much more beyond that and the fact that they're constantly introducing new stuff. I'm going to talk about Oxygen, though, because in 2018, I believe, 2018, they introduced some ceiling fans, and towards the start, there were just some very basic looking fans, and then they moved the Alpha over there, and what was it, the Propel? I can't remember. There were a couple designs, though, that they moved over there. And at first, I was like, okay, this is really cool. But it did not grip me the way that other manufacturers like Modern Forms did, or some of the other companies. But eventually, starting, I want to say probably about 2020, they introduced the Fleet model. Now, the Fleet is one of my favorite current ceiling fans. I love that thing so much. It's so beautiful. Kind of reminds me of a windmill, but it doesn't totally go into the windmill category. It's really unique. It's definitely got a nice industrial design, but it can also be more soft and contemporary. It's a terrific fan, and they move good air. They look terrific. They're DC. These fans are just terrific. And they've also got light kits as well and a few different finishes to choose from. But yeah, that definitely kicked it off. And then they started introducing fans like the Juno, and then the next year, then they started introducing fans like the Rondeur, the Temple, and some other designs as well. And that is when they also started to move up there. And the reason I'm including Oxygen in this is because Quorum and Oxygen are together. And yeah, so then that's why they've got a lot of their very more soft and contemporary type fans. While some of them are sort of moving away from that a little bit with their more of a like a farmhouse design, more with the wood blades and stuff. They still are absolutely terrific. And before, a lot of the Oxygen products were actually more designed for more retail use and commercial use, not like necessarily warehouses, like doctor's offices, I don't know, a yoga center. I don't freaking know. I'm just coming up with things on the spot here. But then they started introducing a lot more of this stuff, and now we've got the Oxygen Showroom collection here, and there's the Fleet on the cover, by the way. But yeah, this stuff is all like sold in showrooms, and you can get in your house, and a lot of it looks terrific. Like, a lot of this is absolutely beautiful, and I would not mind putting it in my house. So I think it's great. Quorum a lot of these other manufacturers you will definitely see pop up in retail locations. I would say because Quorum has like a dedicated line for that, a lot of the oxygen stuff you might see a little bit more. And while a lot of companies do similar designs, it might be hard to tell. But I bet you that probably there's a lot more Quorum like oxygen stuff in public that there would be from some other manufacturers. And I think that's quite awesome, you know, that they're branching out, because not a whole lot of manufacturers have their own like commercial line. Sunset did, but I'm not counting them. And the reason I'm not putting Kathy Ireland / Emerson on here is because while the quality is decent, they might be going bankrupt, and I'm not going to throw them on this list. And that's just why. But anyways, yeah, there's some manufacturers that definitely do have some commercial stuff, but I feel like with the oxygen line, it is definitely one of the best. And a lot of the stuff is simple, clean, modern. It's just absolutely incredible. And once again, just like Quorum, the quality is terrific. So, you know, these two manufacturers and Cyan too. Well, let's just say these three manufacturers have got great quality products, and they cover most of the home. All you'll need to do is just go to Slumberland or Home Furniture or something to go get the rest of your stuff. But yeah, I mean, for all the other lighting stuff, I think the Quorum brands have got you covered. And at one point, they did also have some, like, what was it, Crystal? They had some sort of crystal brand as well that they owned for a while, which was also kind of cool. But I'm not too sure what the deal is with that, because I don't see much of that nowadays. But yeah, the point is they've had a whole bunch of cool different brands with tons of cool different stuff. And I would say it's definitely one of the best well-rounded brands that there is, with all the different stuff that they have to offer. But yeah, though, that finally concludes the 6 of my favorite current fan manufacturers. Just to recap, we have Craftmade, Fanimation, Hinckley, Minka Air, Modern Forms, and the Quorum groups, including Oxygen and Cyan. Those are my favorite manufacturers right now that I would recommend to put in. And while there definitely are some other honorable mentions, like Wind River's been taking off, and I've been pretty happy with their quality. Can-Arm is starting to move here to the US, and that's pretty awesome. And I'm trying to think. Well, Matthews also has some really cool stuff for Matthews and Atlas. And there's some other manufacturers as well. But to me, these ones are definitely the top and some of the best. And I also could forget Caro. But I picked these ones because of a lot of the things that I talked about. And not to mention a few other manufacturers. You know, I've been hearing some complaints about Kichler stuff, and I talked about that at one point. But yeah, overall, these manufacturers are really awesome. So if you need a new fan, definitely consider them. And if you want them ranked, all I can tell you is that Hinckley is definitely going to be at the top of my rank list because of all that awesome stuff. I can't say where I would place everybody else, but that's all I know, that Hinckley is definitely one of the best you can get right now. But yeah, I think that about covers everything that I wanted to talk about here for the manufacturers. So if you have any questions, make sure to let me know. Any corrections on information or anything at all, just let me know down in the comments of this video or whatever other video in this 3-part mini-series that it corresponds to. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you later. Goodbye.